redistricting process moving? How soon will, you guys,
Okay, they have until May, I think it's 15th. They each get to appoint somebody to the board, and they'll do that at an open board meeting. And then they have until, I think it's the end of the year to reset them. Then they'll have 3 public hearings after the redistricting committee makes their recommendations.
Who else appoints? I thought you'd said there were like 5 people on the.
It's one from each supervisor district.
So
So
there'll just be
each
3 people
supervisors.
on the committee.
Mm-hmm.
okay. You guys each appoint one person? Okay. My other question concerns the engineer, situation, hiring. Who interviewed the candidates, or was there more than one candidate?
There was just one, and we interviewed.
And, I'm not gonna ask anymore, okay? So, next.
Was curious to check in again, on how filling the 2 spots in the zoning commission is going. Any update on that? What's next steps to be compliant with the state and fill the zoning commission?
I haven't even heard about it.
We haven't really done anything about that yet.
Can you guess a timeline when you might start thinking about that? That's been a problem for months.
Not yet.
Not a priority for you, huh?
That we'll have to do.
Well, you have to, but it's
We'll have
not a
to do it.
priority.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to get things, trying to get the solar ordinance taken care of, and until we really need the zoning board, but we do need to do that.
And so you always
Yeah.
need a zoning board. There's a lot more, I mean, outside of wind and solar, there's a lot of things, there's pipelines or just your normal day-to-day zoning.
Yeah, we need to get that done.
Yeah, yep, no, that'd be appreciated.
We'll open it for applications again too.
Okay, do you have but there is no due date currently on,
No.
okay. I know the budget amendment, there's a date that you're gonna set for that, just a couple questions. How does the county budgeting process work? Like, you 3 just get together and you compare to last year, or like, who does it, how does it work? Can you kinda fill me in on that?
Laura, you could probably explain a lot better than I can.
Sure, what they do, every January, they set what we call budget hearings or budget meetings
Mhm.
with each department head.
Okay,
And the department head has an appointment with them, and they come, it usually takes place over a week. It's posted out front, who's coming and when. And then they present their next year's budget based on guidance that they give them, like if the insurance is going up, if FICA and IPERS has gone up, what they recommend for wages for non-elected, non-union people. The union, you go by what the union contract says. And they gather all that information, listen to everybody, they have feedback if there's something they're not comfortable with or something they would suggest differently, and then I enter that, or Karen's learning how to do it, into our computer system, and then it transfers over to the state. And then we look at the numbers, we look at our ending balance from last year, and usually we try to keep this year's ending fund balances about the same. And then there's, this year they had an 8% increase for cost of living, so that the departments kept their other costs down to help cover that. And then I present it, and then we usually try to keep the levy rates close to the same. Another option is to keep the tax asking about the same. So if you leave the levy rates the same but the valuation goes up, you're gonna get more in taxes. If you wanna just keep your taxes the same, then you lower your levy rate. Or you can do a 1% increase, 2% increase, or decrease. Usually we present different scenarios, but this year, based on the increase, the 8% increase, we're trying to keep it the same as I visited with them about it, they're trying to keep it about the same. So then we enter that, set a public hearing, and go from there. But it's kind of up to them what they wanna do with the tax dollars and the
Mhm.
levies.
And how does it work, like if things do increase, or like do you guys ever throw out some bids to other areas like insurance risk pools or different areas to make sure that you're getting competitive costs? Or do you look at cost reduction? I know that's, a lot of jobs, that's a huge thing to look at. Is that something you guys are continually doing as costs continue to go up to try to benchmark, try to, quote out to see are you getting the best value for our taxpayer money?
I actually, being my first budget, I just really compared last year to this year, and a lot of the stuff, at that time, and even now, a lot of stuff I didn't even understand, line per line per line, but as long as they're keeping it pretty darn close to what it was last year, I was okay with it, but it might be a different thing next year, for me, at least,
Mm-hmm.
being a rookie, but I don't know.
That's how I look at it too. I know about the only thing that really went up was wages this year,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what
Yeah.
made it a little bit higher.
Okay, yeah, I know it's good to look at what other counties are doing too, if they're outsourcing things that, like for, Ehlers and Cooney is, what a lot of people are using instead of Carlton. If you call around to several of your neighboring counties, everybody's going to Ehlers and Cooney, that's kind of who counties are using. Tama's in their network, like, just shoot them a quote, I mean, if Carlton's better, then stick with Carlton if that's what you guys feel comfortable with, but just to go out there and make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck, right? So, just something to think about.
Especially if he's retiring and you won't be working with him anymore. You might not
Mhm.
have the same relationship with the rest of his company.
Yeah, it's a good time to make sure you're getting the best value. Last question, any update on Vienna repowering? Any update on when that's happening or what the county's gonna request, since we don't have repowering in our ordinance?
I haven't heard anything.
Haven't heard a thing.
Haven't heard anything.
Thank you.
Speaking of quotes, did you guys get multiple quotes for the audio visual or just the single one from Tammy's one recommendation? I didn't know if you went out and asked for other quotes.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not
I have to
sure.
ask for.
So you haven't seen more than one quote?
I haven't. We're on a different page than Tammy, so.
You shared your page with the rest of the board.
I told them what it was, or what they were.
Okay, Dan, you had said if it was around $1,000, you would be for that.
I did say that.
And then
right.
Tammy's was 10. Where did your other estimates come in?
I don't know where Tammy gets that number, to be honest.
I think,
The landfill does it for 1,200, so I don't know where that number.
Well, and you guys are elected, if there's two of you that want it, you can do it, you don't need permission to do it.
oh, we understand that.
Yeah.
But, but we also have to do it the right way. We also have to do it to protect ourselves, to not get in trouble. And I think that's the difference between Kurt's bid and her bid.
So would you say how we're doing it right now is the right way? Not doing anything is the right way?
Well, you folks are recording all these.
And that's our job, to drive down
No,
here and
no,
do that.
No, it's not your job.
Okay.
It's your choice.
Right,
It's
so when we
Yeah.
don't come anymore, then no one's gonna do it, and that's the right way?
Well,
No,
we have 77 other counties that are doing it the same way we are.
Is that right? That's what I'm asking, is that the right way?
I think with,
By state law, yes.
Yeah, you're not required to
I
record.
think it, as detailed as minutes as Laura has, I think that tells you everything that is gonna be put on.
I don't think you're required, but yet, if people can't hear, that is a requirement that people need to be able to hear. So there's been lots of times where people can't hear, that is an issue, right, so.
And not just on the recording, in the room, people can't hear
Yeah,
sometimes.
in the
It's been a
back.
little better, cause Larry mumbled way more than you guys do. But yeah, it's still, it's the truth, come on.
His voice is a little more quiet.
Yes.
Mumbling, I don't know if I'd say that or not.
More quiet, yes. But, I mean, in most other businesses, you get at least 3 quotes to compare, and if Tammy's is only officially going off the one for 10,000, that's not giving you any anything to review off of to see if other ones are doing it. And there could be other companies that have the coverage, the legal coverage that would be acceptable to a lawyer, not just the single company that has been quoted. So I didn't know if we could ask for other quotes out there and see if they would have the same coverage for a smaller cost. 'Cause I mean, yeah, we're not as big as Polk County or, you know, even Blackhawk or Lynn, but I mean, we should be able to find a suitably cost-effective method that would still cover us legally, I would think. And to have more than one quote would just be the legally responsible thing to do, to have comparison and not just go off a single bid. Suggestion.
Have you, had any information on the 345 electric transmission lines that's being proposed by ITC through Taylor, Benton, and Lynn counties?
Did we see something
Yes,
about
there's
that
a
last week?
public meeting
Just last
tonight, I
week.
believe. Yes, tonight,
Where's it at?
at the Writing Center. Yeah,
What time, Bill?
5:30.
You get that out? 5:30,
5:30.
Writing Center tonight.
What's proposed?
High transmission,
The transmission line.
Through where?
Basically follows the same route as the transmission line right now, I think.
There was, yeah, I don't know as bad as you guys with paper over there.
Knew you would.
It's catchy.
I believe, didn't there have two proposed?
I think
there's-
so, yeah.
There was two proposed.
But they're basically following this transmission line that's up here right now.
I think it's 26.2 miles in Pima County, does that sound correct? Listed on the letter, there's like 26 miles of transmission line going through Pima County.
I don't remember.
That could.
Yeah, that
Could be about right.
that should be about right.
That could be very.
Was that posted on your board, Laura?
It's not their meeting, they're not putting it on, they haven't told me they're all three going, so.
Are easy if I come up front?
Yeah, you can.
Hello, everybody. My name's Terry Kuchera. When I was coming down here this morning, I had memories of coming down to the courthouse with my dad when we used to bring the paws to the gophers to get our bounties. And I think at that time we were getting 10 or 15 cents. I don't know if anybody
Nickel.
knows it. Nickel. Yeah, so anyway, I was thinking of how many things have changed in the course of my lifetime. So I want to just share my thoughts on this solar unit. And I did not make this decision lightly. When I was first approached, and I still believe this, that I do not think this project will go through. These projects are they take a lot of work. Everything needs to fall into place. I've talked to a lot of people that have signed option agreements, but once they get all the information, they never meet all the requirements. So, but at the same time, I knew that if I was to sign the option agreement and to get some money for the option, which is a 5-year option, I had to be ready to accept the consequences or the benefits when it happened. And so I thought about it, and I thought, one of the things as I was talking to the company, I said, the first thing, I don't want a gravel-based solar unit farm. It's gotta be a perennial grass, so that when this comes out, it's going to be like a CRP farm. It's going to have more carbon, more microbial activity, better soil life than what we have today. Secondly, I don't want any flashing lights, so that I can sit out here at night and not have to worry about seeing lights that bother me anyway. And then the other thing was, I wanted to have some say about setbacks and fencing. So, based on that, that was all agreeable. I am the worst person you could probably find to advocate for electric vehicles. I'm not saying they're good or bad, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about land use. Is what I'm proposing good for the soil? Is what I'm good? Will this project be good for the county? And will it serve all the people of Tama County in a positive way? And so that's how I came to my decision anyway, to go ahead and to enter into an agreement with it. You know, I also had to do a little bit of soul searching, you know, because you think about, well, how much energy do you actually get off of these solar farms? And then you start thinking about, as a farmer, what's your goal? Well, our goal is to harvest the sunlight. And we're supposed to get energy from the sunlight. Why else do we have upright corn leaves? Why else do we have narrow row corn? Why do we do all these things? We do it to be more efficient in gathering energy. So sometimes when you think, because you did it for so long, you think, wow, we're doing a great job. So then I just looked at saying, okay, I'm growing corn, 40% of it goes for ethanol. That's used to drive vehicles. So how much, from an acre of corn, how many miles can I drive a vehicle? So you use the best case scenario in ethanol. 300 bushels, 2.8 gallons per bushel, 25 miles to the gallon. I think the math comes out to about 2,200 miles you could drive a vehicle. That's without any subtraction for all the energy that it takes to do it. But let's just say it's 2,200 miles. A solar unit, based on the information that I can find, and I'm using somewhat of a lower range, for 1 acre, 17,000 miles we can drive a vehicle. So when you look at the efficiency of what we are doing today over what is available to us, you have to take a pretty hard look at it and say, wow, I'm better off to have this land in solar units because it makes more land available to produce food that we can use for raising livestock, you know. And so that was the other thing, you know. And then you think about, you know, the other thing you always hear about, why don't they do this out in Arizona? Why don't they do it someplace else, you know? And it's just like, you know, we need the electricity all over. Our grain, you know, again, 40% of it goes for ethanol, 25% goes for exports. It's not utilized here. So when I looked at this whole deal, I thought, you know, again, I know I've got friends that put land into CRP 30 years ago. And, you know, why is people opposed to this over CRP? You know, and so that's my thought process, you know. And I guess the other thing is there's a group that got some petitions and all they're asking to do is to delay the decision until after corn planting. And I think the other thing that should try to get the answer to is how much taxes will come into the county because of this project. You know, I've heard anywhere from $10 million for over the course of the year to or $500,000 a year. I don't know the answer to that, but that's, I think, is a very big number that should be found out, because I'm sure North Tama could use that taxes in their school district. So to me, that's what I'm asking to do, is to understand that the decisions you make does affect a landowner. And usually I'm sitting there fighting carbon pipelines, fighting waters of the US, fighting more regulations. So for me to be on the other side of it and have people trying to oppose what I can do with my land when it's not hurting the land is questioning to me. So anyway, I just wanted to you know, come down and give you my thoughts on it. And I just think there's a lot of facts that should be explored, because I had a whole different take on it after I kind of looked at the whole deal. So guess I'm open to questions, or I'll sit down.
Terry, Richard Arp.
Hey, hello.
Okay, long time.
Yeah,
Where do you live?
I live in Sergeant Bluff, Iowa.
Okay, so you do not live where these solar units are gonna be. Did you check with the neighbors before you signed anything?
I did check with the neighbors, yeah.
You did? Okay.
What did
No.
they say?
They said they didn't wanna do it, you know, they weren't excited about doing it for themselves, but, so, yeah. I just talked to my neighbor, my tenant, 2 days ago, and he just said, hey, you know, he's okay with it. He doesn't understand why everybody's in an uproar, you know? It's kinda like that sign that you go down across from the, radio station, you know, you farm your farm and I'll farm mine, you know, it's kind of a deal, you know, but, so.
I guess part of the problem is you don't have any control over what they do with the solar farm, and there are no current regulations. That's what this ordinance is, we're pushing for, is to get regulations in place, so there is control.
I think that's really good to get regulations. I'm just gonna tell you, the regulations that are put together here are terrible. You need some help in putting together regulations that make sense, that don't make a problem for the board when they sign it, because they're not very well thought out. You know, they get-
What regulations are you talking about that are terrible? What are you talking about?
in your draft,
In the draft, you think they're
in
terrible?
your draft.
Yeah, it's
Or,
not.
or whoever.
That's
I-
our
I-
draft. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, I don't think, what I read of it, I don't think it's a very good draft, you know, I think there's a lot of things that could be done, you know, you got a different deal on where, you know, different kind of solar units, if it's on different kind of ground, different acres, I mean, the other thing is, you know, I think you need time to bring the company in here and actually sit down with them in front of you people.
The company should not be in charge of making regulations. That's what we've been
Excuse me,
saying about
that's not-
wind too.
That's not what I said. I said, my opinion is I would think that you would wanna get as much information about the company that's coming in, so you can see the way they would do it. They have way more experience in this than any of us. Why would you not wanna bring them in and talk to them? I'm not saying to follow their rules, I'm saying get information. This is a big deal. You know, this is a big deal. This could be very good for the county. You know, that location, you know, we got places where a mile off the road where with setbacks, people won't even see them.
What do you think from the appropriate setbacks?
I think part of it is you have to talk to the neighbors and see.
Okay, so if a neighbor says, I don't wanna see them, you know, keep them a mile away, I mean, that.
I think that's unreasonable. I've got a, you know, that's not, you're not stopping people from building a building that I find offensive, or I've got an acreage right across the road from my deal that I see full of junk cars and washing machines and all this stuff. And I see that all the time. I mean, I'm not going to make a law, make them to go in there, but I find it offensive, you know, so.
Right, but they may find it offensive to have chain link fence right at their property line full of solar panels. I mean, if you tried to sell your house, like I do not want turbines, cause yes, the red lights, the noise. But if I had to sell my place, I think I could sell a turbine location better than a one full of solar panels. That'd be pretty dang hard, I mean, you gotta admit.
You know what, again, with the setbacks that you could put in place, I think about all the acreages that are around there. You know, they either have buildings, they have trees, you can have setbacks that won't affect it. And part of them are people that are okay with them already. So, I know what you're saying, you know, that it's changed. Again, I'm not, I'm the worst one to be talking, to think that I'm in front talking about it. When, electric vehicles is crazy, but it's more about land use, you know. And, I don't, with proper setbacks, I don't see how this is going to curtail the property
Right,
values.
it just gets frustrating when acreage owners are just left out, just because they don't own farmland, their rights, their property, you know, they got property rights, they have, you know, enjoyment of their life, you know, if they need to sell their property, that all needs to be considered too.
Okay, I shouldn't say this. I should not say this at all. Acreage people, you're building an industrial. Ag is in industrial. And last time I looked, you know, that it's an industry. So you're putting your house right in the middle of a industrial site. So, I've seen where that happens. You got people complaining about dust and combines and sprayers and all this stuff, you know, so I know you have rights, but, you know, that's when you talk about zoning. We should have zoning, you know, to make sure some of these things don't happen. And that, I shouldn't even brought that up, but that's just kind of what that means.
Right,
So
and I-
you have rights, but you don't deserve them.
And I think these guys are doing the right thing, they're having public hearings, they're putting a draft out there, they're doing what they need to do. You know, you and Ted Renewables and these people that sign can show up to that meeting, and, I mean, they're following process of what should be done, so it's kinda let the county, I mean, I wish we could just vote, and we could all vote on these things, but we can't, you know, so this is the best route to go, to update ordinances and protect what everybody wants.
I think it's great. The only reason I came here, I knew what it would turn into. I knew I'd get yelled at, which is fine.
Well, we're not yelling.
No,
we're
but I'm just
discussing.
saying that usually that's
Just
how
a
it turn into.
conversation.
It's just a conversation, but anyway, I agree too. I think it's great. I just think that you should go the next step further. And I know the company, I don't think anybody's ever contacted them. No one's ever contacted me. And have them come in, sit down in front of all you people and ask those questions. And that's the only thing I'm saying. Just get the facts before you make a decision, because trust me, I had a whole different thought process before I started this than I do today, so. And yeah, we may not agree on it, but.
Okay, I just wanna make a quick comment. My land is a mile away from Benton County. Benton County's ordinances protect land from any industry on ground that's 72 or higher CSR. Why shouldn't my ground be protected, just like that?
You have a choice to what you're gonna do with your ground, do whatever you want to do with it. If it's, I've got 45 CSR ground that will outproduce your 70, so I don't know how you automatically say 70 is the magic number.
But we're talking 90 CSR, where you're talking, where you signed up.
Again, I'm not exactly sure how that affects you. If that's what I choose to do with my ground, I'm going to improve my ground by having it in a
That's
pretty
not
ground.
our understanding of what's gonna happen underneath the solar units.
Well,
I mean, we can have a discussion.
yeah, we can have a discussion. I mean, I don't think we need to talk about that, but I think everybody.
Yeah, what exactly was the petition for? Was it just to not make a decision before planting season, or not to move forward at all before planting season?
No, it was to move the meeting to later,
'Cause
after
it-
planning.
Wasn't this just, it's not even to vote on the ordinance, it's just for an informational hearing, and you were expecting to have a follow-up one anyway, right?
Yes,
How many signatures were there?
62.
Are they all from Tama County? Like voting registration from Tama County?
Don't bring that up,
Why is that?
because is your petition all Tama County people?
Yes,
We
Yeah.
have never seen your petition.
Which
Ever.
petition?
the one that we.
You
Sure.
petitioned us a year ago,
The one
and
that
you
shows
never
up.
brought
We had
We
two
never
of them.
shot.
What?
We brought it to the zoning meeting and they all looked at it.
it. It never came to us.
We didn't want you to have it permanently, we wanted you to look at it.
We never seen the petition.
We believe you did.
So,
Okay.
Back to your question, I don't know, but my understanding is that they were all Tama County residents.
What date were they asking then, June sometime?
Just after plan.
there
For
was
May?
nothing on there for when. Just said after planning.
After planning.
Well,
Oh,
that lasts through May sometimes.
is that kinda what you're thinking, or?
I'm gonna just tell you, that petition, they just handed that to me a few minutes before I came in and said, would you present it on behalf of the board?
It just says to delay the first public hearing, is that what it says? Is that what it's for?
I think that's what it said, didn't it?
Yeah, postpone until after planning is complete. There's not a date.
Okay, but it is for the hearing that's supposed
It's for
to
the
be a
hearing,
week
yeah,
from
a week from
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
okay?
Yes.
And the reason to delay is what's gonna happen, just so guys can plant, or is there an actual like plan?
This is what I was told, again, last night, they said, you know, they asked me, would you come as the landowner, explain your position, present the petitions? I said, yes, that's fine, I'd do that, you know, but, my understanding is that they just wanna delay it because they feel that they would like to have more full-time farmers
Who
here.
is they? Who's
Yeah,
the they?
yeah, who started that
I
or
mean,
did
did you have
that
a
for
meeting
them?
last night or something? We don't know what you're talking about.
Trust me, I was at no meeting, I was just, I'll just tell you the whole day, I met him at the Fairway.
Who's that?
grocery
Yeah,
store.
who's they?
Anthony Nab or something, I believe is his name, Anthony.
Representing Ted or what?
I don't know.
Oh.
Is he a farmer?
No, he's not from here, he's from,
We're dealing with.
he's somehow associated, I don't know if he's even with Ted, I almost got the feeling he's with you guys must have some other big project that you're trying to get through or stop or something. I almost think it's with that group.
What, how
but-
do you spell his last name?
Here, I'll just give you his phone number.
Oh.
Trust me, I've got his phone, I got a phone call, and he said, would you have it there? And I saw him 1 minute, but I'll give you his phone number and you can just call him. How would that be?
That'd be great.
Okay, we're gonna have to start our other meeting.
Okay.
Is it this top number?
Thank you.
You can read the text, whatever.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Jerry.
thank you.
Five.
And,
Okay.
and if it, any other questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay.
Okay, and his first name's Anthony though.
Looks like, yeah, Tony.
It says Fairway Store on it, so. Well, that was,
Okay, we'll
was that
call
the
the meeting
number?
to order. I have a motion to approve last week's
Mr. Chairman?
minutes.
Quick question, that was about 15-minute presentation, it wasn't on the agenda. I don't think that it was a public comment. That might have been more advisable to put something on the agenda for him to come and address this group at their meeting. I still had questions for the regular public meeting.
He gave them the option to ask questions, and he asked questions.
Okay, well,
Or they were asking
a lot
questions.
longer than 5 minutes.
Yes.
Quick question, are you guys going to have the budget amendment right now, or are you setting the meeting for the budget?
Budget,
amendment?
the budget amendment is at 9:45.
Is that going to be a hearing, like an open hearing?
The maximum tax levy is at 9:45.
Yeah.
You're gonna set a budget hearing for later this
Yeah,
month.
we'll set a budget hearing.
Okay, can we make comments during that time, or are you just setting the hearing?
No, the hearing we're having today, or for the budget amendment, we're just setting the hearing for when the public hearing will be later in
Okay, I have a
April.
question that is in regard to that, will I be able to address it at that time?
Yes.
Should be able to,
Be fine.
yeah.
All right, Bill,
Okay, motion to approve last week's minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Yeah, second.
Been moved and seconded to approve last week's minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Jesse?
Morning.
Morning.
Start off with a utility permit, for Tyson Communications. It's coming in from Grundy County, just going down to, the Lincoln area. It's been signed by Gary here, so.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Thank you. And then, so start with contract rock, It's still going on, although Tim told me it should be finished today. So hopefully everything goes right for the rest of the day, and that's done.
Boardroom stay.
Blades are out running their normal blade routes today. Let's see, we have our trucks hauling on a couple different roads on 170th Street between Highway 21 and T Avenue, and then T Avenue from Highway 8 up to 160th Street. We still have a few trucks out on G Avenue south of E49, kind of finishing that up, and then as well as spot rocking any troubled areas within the county. The project on X Avenue over by Dyser, right around the 200th Street area, there was some delays because of the weather coming into today, and then there's looks like there might be some weather delays at the end of the week with some rain moving in. See, Denko, they were doing crack filling on a couple of highways. They have completed work at the end of last week. And then the bridge at the edge of Toledo, the utility was relocated last week. We're not sure when PCI is looking to move in quite yet. We're hoping to maybe get answers soon to when they're planning on moving in. That's all I have. You guys have anything else?
Well, they're hoping to get that bridge done before Ragnarok. But,
Yeah.
Doesn't look like that's gonna happen.
It's not looking like it will, unfortunately.
Okay,
Oh, well.
okay, thank you, Jesse.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Jesse. HR.
Did you guys get a chance to go over the contract?
Yes,
Yes.
the engineer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
okay with
it's
it?
the same thing, just that one paragraph.
Yeah, the one
Dates.
paragraph's the only thing that was added, and then, Benton, already signed both of them for you, so.
Okay.
So the one will be the, just for May and June, and the other one will be the 3-year contract.
Yeah.
So. Here's both of them, the signature. And this is just an update on health insurance.
Okay.
Well, any motion to open, approve the hiring of engineer.
You made a motion?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
we need to make a motion.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make that motion, we hire the engineer.
And I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to hire, Ben for the engineer's position. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have an engineer.
Yay!
Will he start right away?
May 1st.
May first.
You confirm the name, we couldn't hear.
Benton DeLask.
How do you spell the last
I'm
name?
glad you did that last name.
Yeah, Delaski, D-A-L-A, let's see, D-A-L-E-S-K-E.
Okay,
Yes.
where's he from, or what's kind of the background, just so we can?
Fayette.
Okay.
He's been there he's the assistant, he's been there for 7 years. So-
But
So we're sorry for Fayette, happy for us.
Will he be shared or will he just be here?
No.
He will be Tama County.
Yes.
I think you'd said last week that the person we were working with in Grundy County would still help with that transition. Is that
Yep.
through May, or is that like through the end of the
He'll stay as
fiscal
long
year?
as Benton needs him to stay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that was the agreement. Gary's a nice guy.
We're gonna lose, really part, assistant engineer,
Yeah,
who is it?
yeah, Jesse.
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 We're
Jesse.
gonna lose him, so that's gonna really kinda hurt Benton
Yeah.
too. We
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
really disappointed that we're losing him,
Are
so.
we gonna advertise for that, Charlie?
Yeah, I haven't talked to Benton about it yet, and I wanna do it with Benton
Sure.
first,
Yeah.
so.
Sure.
He is a younger guy to me, but, very down to earth. He realizes there's gonna be some learning curves here for him, and he admits it, and that's great. I mean, he's got questions, he's willing to go find an answer for it if he don't know it. So I really feel
I think so, I think so, you did a very good job.
So,
Sign here, please.
Oh, okay.
Sign here where the X is.
Oh, okay. I sure will.
Can you just email those?
Yep,
to me when you're
I'll
done
scan them
and-
in, yeah.
You scan them in? That's all I have.
That's all you got?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome.
You want a motion to approve the claims, it's not by 9:45,
yeah, we might as well approve the claims.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve the claims. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
How you doing, bud? I can't complain. What are you doing in the week, start complaining? You know, we. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Okay. We'll do the sheriff's quarterly report. There it is. Got it, Kurt?
Yes.
Okay.
I move we approve the sheriff's quarterly report.
Okay,
Ready?
been moved,
I'll second it.
moved and seconded to approve the sheriff's quarterly report. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Oh, we still got time. Oh, can I have a motion to approve the transfer of the Vienna TIF funds to the debt service?
Okay, I'll just give you a little background on that. So every year you guys TIF the turbines for the Vienna, wind turbines, and it goes into a TIF fund, a special, it's kept separate. And then you make payments on your bonds plus interest twice a year in December and in June. The June payment is due, that's the one that has the principal, which I think this year on those is over $420,000. So per the bond agreement, you can't pay it out of TIF funds, you have to pay it out of the debt fund. So you transfer the TIF money into the debt fund service. So you do this every year when I have that big payment. So this year, the amount I'm asking you to transfer is $492,083.36.
I'll make the motion that we transfer that, okay, the transfer of that money.
And I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to transfer the money from Vienna to the debt service. All those in favor?
Aye.
And
Opposed?
that's also a resolution. Sorry,
Oh, it
let me,
is a
yep,
resolution.
yep.
Okay.
It's Monday, I'm not in my mode fully yet. So that's gonna be resolution 417-2023B. Be it resolved that the Tama County Board of Supervisors approve the transfer of $492,083.36 from the Vienna TIF Fund 0015 to the Debt Service Fund 2100 as requested by the Tama County Auditor. So that's what I'm asking you to do officially.
Can be a roll call vote.
Yes, so roll call, Kurt,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
We're all on track.
Can we ask if there's anything left in that, TIF separate fund after that transfer, what the balance will be?
Yeah, I'd have to go look it up, I can look it up. You want me to look it up right now, or you can
Oh.
come across after the meeting and
We can find out.
I think it's 100,000 or 200,000 left in there, maybe. It's a little bit extra yet.
And then what gets done with that money? Does it go to the schools? Does it go to the
the money
The
that's in
county
the,
fund, like, where does that, the excess go? Like,
it
where-
stays in the TIF fund. So then next year, when I ask for this amount again, I use that, subtract that out, because it's hard to predict exactly how much is gonna be raised, so that's why there's usually something left in there. When the TIF, when it becomes mature, which I think is 2032, that last year, I just probably won't ask for that much to be levied, so that we can empty out that account, and it goes, all that money goes back to pay back
Yeah.
the bonds.
How much has been, I mean, is it usually, like, from what was projected, is it usually hitting that, or is it short? Or especially now if there's repowering talking about, or if they seem like they're off a lot, what's kind of the efficiency look like?
So right now, it's not producing what we expected, because when the Board of Supervisors at the time, when we set up the TIF fund, the calculation showed that by year 5, I believe it was, that the TIF money would be able to completely pay off the debt we have, but then legislation changed in the valuing of industrial, so now we're short every year about between 100 and 150,000. So then we have to levy extra on the taxes for the debt service fund to make up the difference from the TIF fund. So there's money going into the debt service fund already for that. Plus, then we transfer the TIF money in there. Also in the debt service fund, that's how we're paying for the 911 radio system. So it's a payment for that.
Okay. So
That
mainly
comes
we-
completely out of the debt service
So we
fund.
got the 911 and gravel, and that's primarily what we got out of the Vienna turbines, is that correct? Like nothing else to the school or the counties outside of that?
The difference between when you set up a TIF area, you say, this is my base year.
Yeah.
And so then, when you set a date for that to be effective, then whatever is in the base still goes to everybody. Only the excess goes into whoever TIFs it, whether it's a county, a city,
Okay.
a school, whatever. So they're still getting what they were getting. They just aren't getting the excess yet until we get that paid off.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we'll have our public meeting, our hearing for the maximum tax levy.
Okay, that's something that we have on the agenda because now we're required to share your levies that you levy every year. You're allowed to show, required to show the difference between last year's levies and this year's levies. As I explained earlier, we had an 8% cost of living increase, but we've absorbed a lot of it. So this year, according to what we prepared in the budget, in the general levy, there was an increase of 4.29%, and in the rural levy, it's a difference of 4.59%. So even though you increased budgets that much, you're covering part of it with your reserves that kept it down to only a little over 4% increase from last year in your levies. Your valuations have gone up, so that helps cover part of it too. Okay, so that's resolution 417, 2003A, maximum proper tax dollars resolution. Whereas the Tama County Board of Supervisors have considered the proposed fiscal year 23-24 county maximum property tax dollars for both the general county services and the rural services. And whereas a notice concerning the proposed county maximum property tax dollars was published as required and posted on the county website and/or social media accounts, if applicable, whereas a public hearing concerning the proposed county maximum property tax dollars was held on 4/17/2023. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Tama County that the maximum property tax dollars for the county, general county services and rural county services for fiscal year 23-24 shall not exceed the following. General county services, $7,594,644, an increase of 4.29% from the prior year. Rural county services, $2,728,345, a change of 4.59% from the prior year. Now that's saying that's the most you'll go up. When you guys go to approve your budget at your public hearing, you might go lower, but you can't go higher than what we've published. Okay?
Okay, did you have a question on this?
What's the valuations from
let me get that table. Last year, they were 1,175,732,361. This year, 1,226,196,685.
So the new valuations that we just got will go into the 2024 budget.
Mm-hmm. Well, the ones you got in the mail, those are a year away yet.
Yep,
Yep,
that's what
yep,
it is.
yep. So they aren't in here yet, so that's not a very big increase, so, okay? Yep,
Is that all you had? You guys all have a public hearing for the actual budget?
yep, we're gonna set that
Yes.
here, and we got another item after this one, if you wanna comment then, okay?
Actually, the public hearing,
I wanna understand the
Right, well, yes, yes.
large increase we got for valuations, that's a year away
Mhm.
for taxes. Will then you use the same process of wanting X amount of dollars and not increasing the rate?
Well, you can decrease your rate to get
Right.
dollar amounts.
So you're
Decrease the-
more likely next year decrease.
Probably, yeah, decrease the levy,
Mhm.
change the levy to get the.
I would guess that's what they would do, that's up to them.
I believe is what we'll do.
Okay.
Discussed it, but
You know,
Yeah.
that's probably what we'll do, don't you think, Rick?
I would think.
Usually what I'll do when we have a big change like that is prepare it with the rates we have this year, and then prepare it with going, like, they just wanna raise the same amount of dollars, then I'll lower the rates that we recommend. Or they can,
A lot of people don't understand that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right, that's
Yeah.
right.
And,
That's sticker shock. when you
the-
get-
A lot of people see the assessment.
yes. Mhm.
See a
Yeah.
10% increase in assessment, you automatically